Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. It is Binky here today. So back to Elorea. So this is a little bit interesting. I tried to edit the full video and the first part was messed up. So we're going to redo that and then I'm going to change complete looks because I'd rather keep part of the review, the original opinion on it, than recreate it because it just meh. So yeah, so you see me jump into a red outfit, I think, and that is the actual hour mark and then my final thoughts because I'd rather just keep it as authentic as possible. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to redo this. It was all messed up. So yes, we're gonna retry Be By My Side again. So unfortunately, it's not gonna be quite as authentic as it usually is. But you know, it happens. That's life. And that's okay too. Okay, so this one is Be By My Side, and it is Hunoni, I think, in Korean. And basically, Be By My Side was created for the poetic Korean Hunoni, which means missing someone dearly. Warm and glowy, the scent is redolent of a passionate embrace. Ah, okay. So the bittersweetness of ginseng and rich floral notes of roses and forget-me-nots create a hauntingly sumptuous olfactive experience. I love that. I love exactly everything they're saying. So the notes are upcycled bergamot, ginseng, heart is forget-me-not, upcycled rose, rose absolute, and then base is vetiver, soft suede, vanilla, musk. Unisex, vegan, small batches, and you can buy this lovely for $135 for the 50 milliliter. Yes. So I feel like I've done this before. So yes, so here we go. I already know what it smells like. I know it ruins the magic, but you know what? That's okay because it's still magical. So there you go. Woo! Ah, smells familiar. So, reliving it, and you know what? It's not a bad thing. So, the first thing that comes through is ginseng. A big blast of ginseng. And I can actually taste it because what I will say about the sprayers for Elorea, they're mighty. They work really well. Really well. So, you get... Like with this, well, it didn't always work that way. You get a half a spray. This is like full on, but I like to do 2 of each. But because I did do this one before, I'm just going to stick with 1. So there you go. So definitely what comes through is the ginseng. Ginseng's the star here. It really is. And then what comes through is the bergamot. So the bergamot and the ginseng come together. Now what I like about this is ginseng is really important to Korean culture. People will give it as gifts or things because it's healthy. It's for your health, for my health. It's for everyone's health. And because of that, sometimes it could be seen as a medicinal note. I don't get that from this because of the way that it's put together. I don't get medicinal up front. You definitely get that ginseng. You definitely get that bergamot, but they actually go together quite well in a way that isn't medicinal, which is kind of amazing because you would think it would be, but it really isn't. It's very bright. It's very refreshing. It's uplifting in a warm way. So they describe it as warm, and I definitely get that warmth. It definitely is that warmth. And it's up to here. This one really blasts far. Thus far, it really has a good blast zone, as I like to call it. So let's try it here. Yep, definitely that ginseng and the ginseng and the bergamot come through. I'm not really getting the florals yet. Not quite yet. But let's try it here on the clothing. Okay, on the clothing, it's exactly identical. It's that ginseng and that bergamot, that brightness. And it's really kind of staying there a bit, but let's see. Okay. I do get a little bit of that rose coming through. There's a little peak of that rose slowly coming through, cutting through the brightness of the two notes that I was getting, the ginseng and the bergamot. Yeah, there's rose. So it's interesting. It's like up here, and then it's like, wait a minute, the rose is bringing it down a little bit, going, don't get too crazy. Don't get too crazy. It wants to be grounded. And so though it's uplifting, there's always something to keep it grounded as well. And that's the rose coming through, because I know florals are usually light, but I tend to find rose being very grounding because it is a deeper, richer scent. In my view, it isn't light like a honeysuckle or even lilac. I find those to be very light and kind of woohoo. This isn't that. No, rose to me is very much like a heavier scent, and I love it. I do. I think sometimes rose gets a really bad name just because everybody's like, it's an old granny scent, and I'm like, ugh. I see what people are saying, but I just don't fully agree with that. So we can't use rose because everybody says it's just too mature. Or I don't like labels like that. When I was like 5, 6 years old, I loved rose. So maybe I'm just an old soul, but I just thought it was really lovely. So you wear what you like, but it isn't too overwhelming. But the reason I go off on that is I do find it to be grounding. I find rose to be very earthy and not as sweet as other flowers. So it's kind of cutting through that crisp brightness with the grounded, deeper scent of the rose. Yep, very nice. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna check in an hour, and this is the original footage from here on out, because I'd rather have part of it be the original. I don't even know what I said the first time, but hopefully the camera works this time. See you in an hour. All right, so it has been an hour and the vial has disappeared. I wonder if my cats took it on a journey. Anyway, they love to play. So there you go. I will find it. But so it's been an hour and it's definitely still going strong. It's beautiful. So it's definitely this warm scent. Yeah, that's what I would give it. It's warmth. And it's definitely very ginseng forward. I'm still getting that. And that's what I'm getting around this. While Hazy Blue was very uplifting in a way, this is uplifting in a different way. Hazy Blue was uplifting in a way that was just floaty. This is more grounded and warm, like being bathed in sunlight. If that makes sense. So you definitely always are aware of that ginseng. It's always very much around the scent. And even though it's a top note, from my understanding, it never goes away. Even though it's a top note, sometimes they'll fade. With this, it doesn't. It tends to stay right around here. And so it's that hug, that warmth hug. It's just like, that's what I'm getting with this, which is a good thing. Ginseng. On me, I'm getting that ginseng and suede. Mostly ginseng with that little bit of suede. So let's try it on the clothing. Okay, on clothing it's a little bit different. On clothing I'm getting that vetiver. So it may just be my chemistry isn't bringing it out. So I'm getting that ginseng, suede, and vetiver cutting through it. So there it is. There it is. I'm not getting much of the floral though. Nope, it's that ginseng, vetiver with a slight bit of suede. But the florals are not really present so much on the clothing. And I'm getting a slight bit of the florals underneath. Not rose though. I know rose is there, so it must be the forget-me-not. But I'm not getting a lot of it. It's very interesting. So if you're looking for that vetiver, it's going to show up more in your clothing with the ginseng along with that suede. But the suede just kind of, instead of just being just a hug, warm hug, it grounds that warm hug, because the suede brings it down a bit. Very light, very bright, very refreshing. So what we're going to do is we're going to see how this holds up after 4 hours. I'm curious to see if it lasts the full time. If I feel it doesn't, I will come back and sometimes I forget, but I always smell it and note where it's at. but it's still very much around here. These are not known for being loud, bombastic scents, so they, from my understanding, these aren't going to be all day lasting you. They're just not. But let's give it a test and see where it goes after 3 or 4 hours. Okay, so it has been 5 hours and here we are. So yes, be by my side. So it is very small. Oh, the scent is right in the scent bubble. Not a bad thing. When I move, I can still smell it sometimes, but it's still very light. It kind of has the same fate that Hazy Blue does, which is around the 3.5 hour mark, it starts going, okay, I'm a little tired. So what you could do is give it a little jolt of its own caffeine, which is itself, and respritz, and, you know, give it a little bit of a boost. I think it really would help every 3 to 4 hours in that time span to go ahead and up it a little bit if that's what you're looking for. Otherwise, it's going to be very much a skin scent, and if you hug somebody, they'll smell it. But beyond that, it's going to be right in this area, and that's okay too. Starts out strong enough, but these do weaken. So these are not meant to be powerhouses. They're intimate, they are light, they are airy. So just know that going into it, that these are not powerhouse fragrances. So you will, which I do, probably every 3 to 4 hours I do respritz, and then I'm ready to go see everyone again and go, hey, so here you are. So let's smell it again on the wrist. So mostly what I am getting on the wrist is ginseng. Ginseng with a little bit of suede underneath. The ginseng is top, and then, oh, here's a little bit of suede just to make it interesting, but it really is a skin scent. I really have to get my nose in there. There really is nothing projecting from there in comparison to the clothing, but that's pretty normal for fragrances. But let's check this out. It's so nice on the shirt still, even though it's gentle, it's so nice. It's that ginseng is coming out. That's the star. And then you get that light grounding of the suede with a beautiful white flower. I think that's the forget-me-nots. Now, here's the thing. I know for a forget-me-not, I forgot it. I'm sure I've smelled it before, but here's the reality. Like I said before, most people I don't think know forget-me-nots unless you really have a history with them. I know a lot of people who don't know what honeysuckle smells like. I just know it because I had a perfume I had as a little kid that made me feel grown up and like, wow, when I'd spray it on, I'm like, yeah. So I know honeysuckle well. It was perfect for, you know, a young child. You know, I love it still as an adult, but I'm saying it was just, you know, it's that kind of a floaty, gentle scent. So it's just, I know that scent. Forget-me-nots I'm not that aware of. I know I've smelled them before, but it really doesn't stick with me going, hey, you know, that's a forget-me-not. I don't know. So, but you do get a little light floral with in the middle with the floatiness of the ginseng, brightness of it, and then the suede. It never really changes much, but boy, it's beautiful. So it basically is more, it's stronger here and then slowly peters out to where it's very light. So it's a memory of itself a bit, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but you know, it's very light, but ooh, it's beautiful. But the thing is, it's very much the star is ginseng. It's ginseng. If you don't like ginseng, this may not be for you. If you love ginseng, you're gonna love this because this is so ginseng forward. So there you go. I mean, it matches exactly. They want to represent Korean notes, and ginseng is used in different cultures, but it really is a big deal in Korea. Like, really is a big deal. So I understand why they made a fragrance with it. Totally makes sense. So I get it. But ginseng's the star. So if you don't like that, you may be going, ooh, you know, it really is. If this was a motion picture, the star would be ginseng, and at the end of the year, the award would go to ginseng. And ginseng would say, I want to thank myself because I'm ginseng, my family, and God. And that's it, ginseng. The Chronicles of Ginseng. This is what this is. So, very much so. It's a lot, you know. I don't mind it. I think the flowers really ground it. And then the suede really grounds it. Though I never do get the rose coming through. I waited for that rose to come through and it never really did. So I don't know. Maybe it's just me missing it, but I just really feel like ginseng on top, there's going, yeah. And then you have the the floral in the middle, that light white flower just going, here I am, with the suede bringing it down. It's grounding it. So what I'm finding with these fragrances is with Hazy Blue, it was very much in the atmosphere, where it was just like, ooh, you're floating around in the air and you're loving it, like that beautiful petal on the wind, versus this, which is light and uplifting as well. They both are, but in different ways. This one is more grounded, like a hug in the wind, and you feel that warmth. That's what this is. It's a hug, but it's uplifting with the brightness and the cutting of the ginseng, because it cuts through the scent. You know, it's sharp, it's bright, it makes you alert, it wakes you up. And then you have the beautiful floral just to make it, oh, and this sweet and beautiful, and then that suede which grounds it. But it's still uplifting in its own way. It's very beautiful, but again, if you don't like ginseng, this one may not be for you. I love ginseng, but I don't know if I really thought about wearing it before. Not that it's a bad thing, it actually is very fabulous. But if I was gonna give this a score, I would probably give Be By My Side a 6.5 out of 10, which is not bad. I mean, people are like, what? It's not bad. It's absolutely beautiful. I love ginseng and it smells gorgeous, but I don't know if this is one I would reach for as much to go, oh, I want to smell like ginseng today. You know, not that it's a bad thing. It's fabulous. I'm smelling it. It's beautiful. It's earthy. It's gorgeous. It's bright yet earthy yet floral. It's beautiful. But a 6.5 is still really good. I really like this one, but I don't know if it's one that I would buy a full bottle of for me. And I think it's just because I don't go out of my way to go, hey, I want some ginseng. Well, I'd love to drink it and eat it, but yeah, you get what I'm saying. So there you go. But yeah, so the 6.5 is pretty darn good. I'm loving this series. It's just very different. It's very light. It's very clean and fresh. This is what I'm realizing. These are all very clean and fresh, and you could wear these in the office. Nobody's gonna go, you know, like if you walk in with sloth and everybody's like, I jest. I give sloth such a bad name, but it was a lot on me. But you know, that could be a little bit more challenging. If you come in with T-Rex in the office, people are going to be going, what the heck? You know, nobody's going to give you side eye over Elorea thus far. They're going to go, oh, you smell nice, and then move on. You know, it's not like that. So there you go. But yes, so we will be trying another one here soon. Yes, excitement in the air. We'll see what else, forgotten words, what other ones we'll be pulling out of the collection, because there are 2 more. We have tried 2. I think I found it right there. The cats were playing with it. But yes, so we have 2 more of this collection before we move on to the others. But fabulous. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to talk about a cultural note. So if you were done, and have a great day, my friend, go for it. But if you were interested to hear more about my trip to Korea and hearing something a little bit cultural and what I recommend if you go to Korea, come on, sit by me and here we go. So if you...
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
What? Quit spying on me. You know she's spying. I know it, but enjoy my fragrance talks. Okay, so Seoul is fantastic. But sometimes you got to get out of the big city to go see another city and find a little history. And so there's an area called Suwon, which is 30 minutes outside of Seoul. And I really recommend that you go and go to Suwon. There's 2 things to do there. It's the perfect day trip to get out of Seoul and see something different and see a little bit of history. Now I'm going to start with the lighter one of the 2. I mean, they're both light, but one's a little bit more in depth. This one is something quite easy. Now it is free, but there are areas I think that you do have to pay to get in, but don't quote me on that because I went after the other adventure, and so most of it was closed. But it's open 24/7, and so you go visit the Hwasong Fortress is what it's called, and I think it's the last standing fortress in Korea. It has like gates that you could visit. There's areas where people could watch to make sure that nobody was doing what they shouldn't be, in case, you know, with treacherous times back in the day. It was built in 1794 through 1796 and still standing today. You know, they don't have a lot of these left. There are several gates left in Korea, But as far as a full-blown kind of fortress, those are long gone, except for the Hwasong fortress. And it's very interesting. You'll see locals like exercising there or walking around at night. So it's used kind of like a park, and you can go up and see the view of Suwon from the top. You know, it is a fortress, so there is a lot of walking. So if you have any impairments or anything, just know that it may be a little bit difficult. There's a lot of steps, a lot of uphill walking and things. There's a lot going on there. You know, this is quite a hike. It's not difficult. It's not a hike per se, but there is a lot of walking. So just know that that's the case. But there are areas that are a little bit flatter eventually. But, you know, it's a fortress, so it had to be a little bit higher up. So just be prepared. But just beautiful views. I went there at sunset, and they have like this area where you can see where everything, you know, like the US is here, China's this way, and it shows you the different countries of where everything is. And you go, oh, okay, here I am on the map, kind of. This is how far away in miles, or, you know, I think it's not miles. We're one of the only countries that use that. But, you know, this is how far away you are from home. And you're like, oh, I'm in Korea. This is awesome. And you could just walk around it, get some beautiful photos. You can see the whole city of Suwon and just see it at sunset. And it is absolutely beautiful. And then it's lit up at night. Absolutely beautiful. The locals will be sitting there and walking their dogs, or, you know, just exercising. And tourists are there. It's very quiet. It's not overrun like a lot of things are in Seoul, where you're just like, whoa. You know, Seoul is a lot of population, way more than something like New York City. I think New York, I don't know, I'd have to double check, but New York City is also very compact in comparison to most cities. But even still, Seoul is a lot. Sometimes you're like, wow, I just want to breathe. But, you know, there you go. So it's a nice day trip to get away from it. It's just beautiful, and you'll learn a little bit of history about why the Hwasong fortress was built. And it's interesting to see a little fortress like that. It's not so little, but it's interesting. It's an interesting part of history. Beautiful to look at. You can see the beautiful Korean architecture in some of the gates, and then some of the other areas they use like green and orange, and there's actually a history of what those things represent. So it's very interesting to look at that once you know that history. But so worth it. So worth it. But we will talk about the second part of what you can do in Suwon tomorrow. Or not tomorrow, the next video. I won't be filming tomorrow, but the next video. So yeah, head on out to Suwon, get out of Seoul, and go see Hwasong Fortress for part of a day. You could probably get around it in 90 minutes, you know, 90 minutes to 3 hours is what I would give it. Or you can like bring some food and enjoy it and make it a day. So there you go. That is cultural note number 2, and something I enjoyed while I was in Seoul. And with that, my friend, have a fabulous day. Bye.